The Honorable Learned Hand once said, "If we are to keep our democracy, there must be one commandment: thou shalt not ration justice." In the spirit of Learned Hand, the Utah State Bar is pleased to announce the creation of the Utah Pro Bono Commission, a voluntary program designed to increase pro bono legal services to low-income Utahns.
It's tough being a lawyer, but to the extent we can reach out to those in need, I think our professional lives become all the more satisfying. I think most lawyers want to use their skills to benefit the community. This program will help to coordinate efforts. It will help to match an attorney with a particular skill or interest with a pro bono client who stands in need of that skill.
Utah's pro bono program is led by the Utah Pro Bono Commission, co-chaired by the Honorable Judge Michelle Christiansen of the Utah Court of Appeals and the Honorable Judge Royal Hanson, presiding judge of Utah's 3rd Judicial District Court.
Our first priority is to set up those district commissions so that we can get the services to the people that need them as quickly as possible. And I would just encourage those lawyers who have even the slightest thought that they might have a little extra time that they could place on a case involving somebody that is not represented. And it would be very helpful for our community. It would be very helpful for our court system if people will just continue to offer their services and be involved.
The ABA has a standard of 50 hours per year, and some bar associations have greater or less than that number. I'd suggest even another standard, and that is that they should always have a case that they're engaged in that's a pro bono case that matches and works with the other responsibilities that they have.
There is a large unmet need for pro bono legal services across the state, a gap that Utah Pro Bono Commission intends to address.
In Utah, there are over 360,000 low-income Utahns facing up to 92,000 legal issues each year. Unfortunately, most of them don't have the means through which to access the justice system, leaving a lot of unmet need. In fact, in 2011, Utah Legal Services was only able to take about 8,000 new cases because of our limited resources and limited priorities, so we have to rely on pro bono attorneys.
Many Utah lawyers already provide pro bono legal services to needy clients whose lives are deeply affected by this kind of voluntary service.
I had been in an abusive relationship for a few years, and it was just time to get out. I was seeking a protective order, and so I finally was able to get a hold of Utah Legal Services, and they've been able to help me ever since. Once my kids came in the picture, it was just time to get out. You know, once I saw that he was taking the abuse out on them, I knew I needed help. I was able to get a pro bono attorney, Tiffany Sato. She's been awesome. I don't know what I would do without you guys and without her.
I had gone for some financial counseling, and he said no problem, we'll put the house in a trust. And I went back a couple days later and signed what he called trust papers. And 6 months later, I found out that I didn't have a house, I didn't own the house. They were offering to rent it to me, or I could buy it back. And finally, I just called Legal Services because I didn't have the resources to pay an attorney. Pro bono attorney, I didn't even know that there was such a thing. And they cared about me just as much as they would care for a paying client. It was a serious situation, but they made me feel that they were going to handle it just fine.
Here is how the Utah's Pro Bono Commission works. The Pro Bono Commission is organizing pro bono committees in each of Utah's 8 judicial districts. The district pro bono committees will implement individual pro bono programs to provide services at a local level. The district pro bono committees will, through a centralized database, match volunteer lawyers with pro bono clients screened by Utah's nonprofit legal services agencies. Volunteer lawyers can clear conflicts and choose cases that match their skills, schedules, and location. Lawyers who can't accept a case because of time constraints or other reasons need not accept the case. This is a voluntary system with no mandatory hour requirements of any kind. And lawyers who volunteer to take cases won't be alone.
Our motto is to serve the public, and I will be the liaison for the Pro Bono Commission and the Utah State Bar with each of those districts.
Here is what to look for in the coming months. Watch for the Pro Bono Commission's Check Yes campaign, describing your opportunity to check yes on this year's bar license application. Those who check yes will be included in the pool of dedicated volunteer lawyers and be sent a brief electronic survey to confirm practice areas and availability. Pro Bono Commission members will also be visiting law firms and other organizations to challenge them to adopt pro bono policies, encouraging attorney involvement in pro bono services. Consider becoming involved in a pro bono committee in your district and help administer Utah's pro bono program in your community. The Commission will also be sponsoring free CLEs for volunteer lawyers. And finally, stand by for that email or phone call from your district pro bono committee and accept the opportunity to serve.
There is a huge need for pro bono services across the state. And to have the bar take the lead on this and to pull together a database and to bring willing lawyers together to help people, whether it takes them 2 hours or 2 months, and put in this effort, I think is great, and everyone needs to check yes.
The Rocky Mountain Innocence Center could not operate, could not do what it does without volunteer attorneys. And whenever cases go to court, they involve a volunteer attorney, and frequently more than one volunteer attorney. So without volunteer lawyers, it would be impossible for the Innocence Project to do what it does.
But it somehow is nice to do something that goes beyond your job description and to be involved in something that is simply doing good. I know that every one of those attorneys can have a more enriching feeling about what their law degree and their law profession means over time if they're also giving in the community, in addition to all of the good that they're doing for their clients and for their firms and for their offices generally.
I think the public service aspect of this is already having an impact on our public image, that we are truly a profession that cares about the community. I think it obviously benefits the community because we're helping people who are in dire need.
It's true that lawyers are extremely busy and that their time and expertise is what they have to sell, so they need to make a living, but they also need to recognize, I think, the degree to which their skills are bestowed on them, in part by the largesse of the community that gives them the right and privilege to practice law. The program that we're developing here in Utah, where we have the capacity to unbundle services, where lawyers can enter limited appearances and take on pieces of work, I think it's going to be very manageable to provide effective pro bono service without having to commit your whole life to it.
Sandra Day O'Connor, I think, said it best in 1999, speaking to the Oregon Law School. She said, a business, unlike a profession, can't focus solely on profits if it chooses to do so. But she said a profession's first obligation is to focus on community service and then to focus on the business side. So we are really hoping that many lawyers will follow our Check Yes campaign and agree to volunteer to take a pro bono case.
So please, when you complete this year's bar license application, check yes to become involved in Utah's Pro Bono Commission. Check yes to show your support for those who need your help the most, and check yes to lend a learned hand.